Hey, welcome to the 17 Law Studio. I'm Russ Rogers. I am your host today. I'm looking forward to talking to you about several things. And as you know, my new format for videos is I want to answer your questions. I don't just want to create the content out of the air for me, even though I've got a lot of experience dealing with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of couples with their marriage and their parenting. But today, I don't do this often. It seems like every video out there you'll see it's about intimacy and sex, that. So when we're talking about intimacy, I don't do a ton of that, even though I'm happy to answer all your questions, so shoot those over. But I have a video series where I have a very long segment of that is devoted to intimacy. And you can check that out. You can check it out in the links and get that for you if you want. Today, I just want to answer some questions that you have about intimacy. Before I get too far, it would be nice to get a little favor, and that is if you could go to my links and follow me on YouTube, that would be great. I would appreciate it. Now, some people ask, and I don't share this that often. I might start doing a little bit of this along as I go. And like, well, okay, Russ, who died and made you king? Well, I've been married a long time. I married my high school sweetheart. We dated several years, got married, been married a long time. And what happened was I didn't know anything about parenting. I didn't know anything about marriage. I didn't know jack. And so when I met my wife, I got to know her parents. It's like, oh, wow, so that's a really cool relationship that they have. What a cool family. I want to learn about that. And then I started reading books and going to every seminar I could find and every video series I could purchase. And I spent probably thousands of hours and thousands of dollars every chance I get to learn more about being a husband, being a father, all about marriage, all about parenting, different kinds of children that you'd parent, all the different personalities and love language. I tried to learn everything I possibly can, and I still to this day, every week, I'm always looking and trying to learn. And not only learning, it's not just head knowledge. I actually put that in practice. I didn't know any better. I thought, well, hey, this is just how we're gonna. This is just how it works. I'm supposed to do this and get outcomes, so I did this, and because of that, I learned a lot. And then a number of years ago, not it, I don't think it was just happenstance. A number of years ago, someone came to me and he was being served with divorce papers, and he said, "Hey Russ, can you help me?" And I thought, "Well, yeah, I can help." And I had some really good ideas, and they're happily married today, and I'm happy to say, and everything's great. And then it was like one couple after another started coming to me, and all the things I learned, I started putting in action. I'm not a counselor, but I can help. Mainly because of what I've learned in my personal experience. And a lot of you have learned a lot, probably like I have, but some of you also have learned by the hard way. Hey, if I say this to my wife, she gets mad, so I don't need to say that anymore. If I say this, then she's all over me, so I want to say more of that. There's things like that you just automatically learn. So we're all learning, and so because of all that, I've learned more and more, and I've dealt with so many different couples. And what I love to do is just share that with you. And I love even more answering your questions. And today, I always get a ton of questions on intimacy. And because of that, I just wanted to devote this segment to that. And I want to answer your questions. So I just want to jump right in, answer those questions for you. All right, here we go. My husband feels like intimacy. My husband never feels like intimacy since he's always tired. He says his work is stressful, and I know we're all busy. How do I let him know it's important to me? Well, that's a great question, and it's very unusual coming from a wife. It seems like I'm always getting the questions from the husbands, and and I share this every time you send me a question. You don't bore me. Russ at the17laws.com. Shoot that over to me. Give me all the details that you're willing to share. I won't share your name on a video unless you ask me to. Maybe I would. But anyway, I don't know how old this couple is. I don't know if they're 65 years old or 25 years old, or they have children, or they don't have children, or are they both working. I don't really know that. And so I'm just going to throw out some things. She says he doesn't feel like it and says he's always tired. Well, and I know his job is stressful. Now, I'm not suggesting people go out and quit their job, but there's probably something that he needs to address with his job if it's that stressful, if it truly is stressful. Name a job that isn't, right. But if he's if he's that stressed and it's affecting his family, like if my job is so stressful that's negatively affecting my family, I need to figure out how to handle the stress, relook at how I do my job, or I might even need to be thinking of a career change. So there's something there to consider. Sometimes when people are tired all the time, they're working, they're eating terrible, and then they're always tired and they've gained a bunch of weight. Don't know how old this couple is. Let's just for fun, let's just say they're 35 years old and they have two kids. And he comes home and he's tired. Well, who isn't tired when they come home from work? But if you're not eating right and you're not exercising, and then you're working, and then of course you're going to be tired. And a lot of people say, "Okay, I'm going to wait, and I'm too tired to exercise." Well, for me, I have to exercise so that I'm not tired all the time. So do I love getting out and going however many miles? Do I just love that? Well, sometimes it's actually kind of nice, but I always love that I did it. I don't always love exercising. Do I just love working out with the weights? Just say, "Oh man, I can't wait to work out with the weights." I don't know that I've ever said that, but I always love that I did it, and I always feel better. Recently, we took an extended vacation, which I don't know that I've done in 20 years or so. And I noticed I didn't exercise as much as far as lifting weights, that sort of thing. And then when I got back, I started lifting weights, and wow, what a difference a couple weeks make. Now, I did do some exercise. I walked a lot. I did do a bunch of push-ups and whatever I could at a hotel, but these were hotels that didn't have fitness rooms, so I didn't have that luxury because it was overseas, and I guess they don't do fitness rooms where we were. Anyway, there's the exercise, eating right part of it. Now, I don't know that this is the case why this guy is tired, and it may be an excuse that he's tired. I don't know. But I do know I've seen it 100 times. If you're in your 30s and you're tired, you're probably not getting enough sleep. You're probably not eating right, and you're probably not exercising at all. One fix on that would be if you have kids. I don't know how the kids might be. Let's just pretend they're not 10 and 12. Well, could the 12-year-old watch over the 10-year-old for 20, 30 minutes while the husband and wife go for a walk around the block a few times? Probably, depending on the city you live in, all that, probably so. Could the 10 or 12-year-old go with you and ride their bikes while you run or walk, whatever? Yeah, you could do that too, or they could walk with you. But there's a way to get out and get a little exercise. Other thing on eating habits. Now, I'm not like this slim and trim, fit person where I'm going to be a model, but I'm reasonably healthy. I'm not obese or anything like that, but it's not by happenstance. If you look at I did one of those DNA tests, and I'm predisposed to diabetes and all that sort of stuff, but I don't have it. I don't have a high metabolism, so I actually have to watch what I eat, and I do have to exercise, and I do exercise. But here's the thing on my exercise. I have committed that I'm going to exercise every single day. Does it happen 30 to 31 times a month? No. Does it happen most every day? Yeah, probably. I'd say 6 out of 7 days it happens. So it's that important to me. I plan exercise every day, and then I plan things around. That's part of who I am. I'm an exerciser, and because I'm an exerciser, I feel better. I'm not tired at night. My weight hasn't gotten away from me. The other thing I've noticed in my eating habits. I used to go by this. It's a really cool drive-through we have around where I live, and they have the best breakfast. None of it's good for you, and I would do that. I did that, but you assume that little small breakfast isn't that big a deal, but then 365 of them later, then all of a sudden it shows. I had to stop that. I had to start eating watch a little here and a little there. I'm not saying go on a diet. I'm not saying go on a keto diet or the intermittent fasting. You do whatever you and your doctor and your family, whatever you want to do. But I always say do a little bit Like if you're eating 3 sausage and biscuits in the morning, eat one. If you are or if you're going to the drive-through in the morning getting blah 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 blah, how about you get half that? Or don't go. Try something different. If you're going for lunch, instead of getting an appetizer and dessert, maybe skip one. Just do a little bit better, a little bit, and then you over a year, over 6 months, that makes a huge difference. And I promise you, you'll feel better. Now, here's something else that happens in our world. I've read several studies on why it messes up, but a lot of times guys' hormones are messed up. A lot of times you figure these old guys, some people put in my comments and some of my videos that I'm a boomer. I'm not that old, but it's not like people my age, but because I'm obviously not in my 30s. But if you read a lot of studies, because our processed food, our diets, our just all the soft drinks we drink. And by the way, that's another thing you can cut out easily is soft drinks. Even cut out the diet ones, and quickly you'll see a big difference. All the processed food, high fructose corn syrup, all that stuff that we have in our diet messes with our bodies, messes with our hormones. And now I've seen a lot of studies where guys in their 30s have hormones that are messed up, like testosterone, that sort of thing. It's not just old people things anymore. It's happening to younger people, and sometimes it's genetic and all that. So if he's tired all the time, there shouldn't be a reason. And I just picked 35. This guy could be 80, could be 15. Well, not 15, but 25. So I don't really know. But if you're in your late 20s, early 30s, and you're tired all the time, and you're eating right, and you're not overweight, and go see your doctor, get all your hormones and everything checked, and you might find that it's a different. So there may be some medical reasons there. Here's something else. Remember, the question is, my husband's too tired for intimacy. More time. Too tired. My husband. Remember, the question has to do with my husband is too tired for intimacy. Well, in addition to the medical reasons, a lot of times I'll ask a couple, hey, have you had that discussion with your spouse? And most of the time, darn near 100% of the time, no. It'll go like one person will kind of come on to the other, and the other one will act tired, and then they'll stop. And then they'll get mad or get their feelings hurt, understandably. And then resentment starts to set in. They might try it a couple more times, but if you're just going to get turned down for intimacy just so many times, and you're going to say, okay, I'm done with it. So I always recommend have the hard conversation. Go to your spouse and say, hey, this is a big deal. Now, I've seen some videos where most people say, hey, men and women have sexual needs. And then a video will come out and they'll say, well, it's not a need, it's water and air. Those are needs. Sex isn't a need. Well, that usually comes from someone who doesn't understand intimacy, doesn't understand that it really is a big deal. That's from someone where it's not a big deal to them, so they assume it's not a big deal to everyone else. But that's just not true. It is a need. God made us as sexual beings, and there's desires and all that. And because of that, unfortunately, most marriages don't make it. And this is one reason a lot of marriages don't make it, because of the lack of intimacy. Most men and women have certain needs and desires, and that's how they're made. And they're going to find it. And the best place to find it is with their spouse. And when they don't find it with their spouse, they start looking elsewhere, and as a coworker, or they put it in some other unhealthy way. That's not good. So that's why you got to have the hard discussion. As hard as it is to address it head on, it's not nearly as hard as not addressing it and dealing with all the resentment and the fallout and all that comes with not addressing it. And if you do address it, and you can have some open and honest discussions, you may find that there's some other issues going on in their head that need addressing. Now I used to, like when I was young, everything was going my way. I just thought when disasters happened in people's families, it was just because they were stupid and they made stupid decisions. And then I got a little older, and I realized, golly, there's a lot of stuff going on, and things happen. Life slaps you in the face, and life slapping me in the face. And I can tell you that life does slap you in the face from time. Companies downsize. You invest in a business, and it goes south. People get sick, family members, children, people die. Things happen, and it's tough. And because the divorce rate's pretty high, and it's been that way for quite some time. Unfortunately, I'm not happy about that. I'm just stating facts. So there's a lot of mixed marriages, and there's a lot of craziness in our world, and because of that, it affects all of us. So it may be that your spouse, if you're going to have that honest conversation with them, it may have been something when they were growing up that they need to deal with a counselor or something along those lines. I highly recommend it. Even if you think things are going well, going to a marriage counselor is always a good idea. A good one, a good one. So anyway, there might be something in the world of intimacy that your husband needs to deal with, or your wife needs to deal with, that has to do around intimacy. It could be anything. Could have been a traumatic experience around that area as a child, teenager, whatever the case may be, and it might be very difficult. Something to check into. Well, those are just some things, but hitting it head on and look at their health, look at their mental state. Do they need counseling? Look at the eating, dieting, exercises, just letting them know that it's that important to you. And then once you have that open, honest conversation, other things will open up, and you'll probably find some areas that maybe you could work on, that maybe you're turning him completely off because he just doesn't feel loved, he doesn't feel respected. It may be some things that you're not even aware that you're doing. So I hope that helps. So let's just flip the coin a bit. I said that was kind of unusual that was coming from a wife, because most of the questions I get around intimacy it's around the husband. So let's flip the coin a bit, because I receive way more questions from husbands saying their wife is never interested in intimacy. So I only have a few minutes, but here's what I've seen over the years when the wife is not interested in intimacy. Well, number one reason I see that the wife is not interested in intimacy is because the husband is not being a very nice person. The number one reason I see when wives are not wanting to have intimacy with their husband is this. It's because the husbands are not being the people they need to be. They're not being nice. Like, I want to put it this way. You know how husbands are when you're dating in high school, college, or whenever you were dating, what the husband did to get you, like, you couldn't do anything wrong. You didn't have to shave your legs. You could burp. You could do whatever. You didn't have to fix your hair. Didn't have to put on makeup. You probably did all these things, but you didn't have to. That's not going to change. That's not going to change their desire for you. I mean, they're willing to do anything to get you, and so the number one reason I see that intimacy stopped is because that stopped. So husbands, what you did to get your wife is what you need to be doing to keep your wife. Date your wife pursue your wife every day. Go after your wife every day. Act like she's the most important human on earth. Now, I can say that I've never had this conversation before where somebody said, I treat my wife like a princess. She loves me. I send her love notes every day. Sending her flowers. We go on 2 date nights a week. We go on a quarterly weekend away. We're super romantic. Everything's great. We're best friends. We all do all that, but we're just not interested in intimacy. I've never heard that. It just hasn't happened. But here's what a typical guy will do, though. A typical guy will go after his wife for intimacy. She'll turn him down, and then that happens 2 or 3 times, and he's done. And so he's not going to treat her well. He just doesn't. Well, so he's in a typical guy's mind. They will say, "Hey, if she'll start doing this, then I'll be nice. I'll start doing those things again, but not under these circumstances." And that's backwards. That's not how it works. There's no other. I mean, you don't go to your job and say, "All right, boss, you pay me the big money, then I'll do the job." Or you don't go. You can't even go to the gym and say, "All right, everybody put the muscles on me, and then I'll work out." I mean, that doesn't even make sense in any phase of life. No, you be the husband you need to be. You pursue your wife like no other. You pursue her like she's the most important human on earth, and then you'll watch the intimacy come around. So there's one thing. Another thing I see is that a lot of times I'm getting this from people where the wives have had a baby or two or three, and the guy gets hung up on the female's body that she's gained some weight. But here's what's so funny. I've never been around a couple where the guy didn't gain as much weight, but he didn't think anything about his body. Guys are like, yeah, so I gained 50 pounds. I'm still the stud muffin. That's not that's terrible thinking. So if you truly cherish your wife, the fact that her body's a little different, and heck, you're the one that helped create a little bit different body, that's very shallow thinking. So if you have made your wife feel like her body is not good enough, and then she's going to be very self-conscious about it. And then why would she want to strip down for you if you've already communicated to her that she doesn't have a very nice body? Why would she do that? So there's another area that if you've made your wife feel like her physical features are not worthy of being sexy, then you're going to have to fix that. Uh, Something else about intimacy. Now, I'm all for hey, the kids will be home in 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes. The times there, you have those, all for all that. There's times where you only have 20 minutes. There's times when but that shouldn't be every single time intimacy happens. It just shouldn't. There should be times. So, uh, if you truly are cherishing, loving your wife, and and you absolutely and you have convinced her of that, then you're going to see more intimacy. Now, part of that comes with flirting. Part of that comes with fun texting. Cool, fun emails, or whatever the case may be. Maybe some fun calls, or maybe you get some of those sexy cards you can get online, and it's probably not something you want your mother to see, but it's perfectly okay between a husband and wife. Or you probably don't want your kids to see it either. But some of those things and some of those fun, sexy texts that you could do that leads up. So you're going to be a fun, sexy husband all the time. That's a part of it too. Here's something else that we overlook as men, and what women really tend to like. Women, if I get a ton of comments saying, "Hey, I'm wrong," that's okay. But that is physical affection that does not lead to sex every time. Now it could, but that's not the goal of it. Women love that. If they think you're only touching them to get sex, that's then they're on to you guys. They know the only reason you're touching them is because you want something. But a lot of the time, if you're hugging and squeezing and kissing and putting your hand on her leg, or whatever part you want to put on, if you're doing all those fun things all the time, and it's not going to lead to sex, then she will feel like you actually love her body, and she knows that you truly adore her. So physical touch, physical affection that doesn't lead to sex there's a big part of why there's no intimacy in your marriage. So I could go on and on. Again, I've got a video series that you can look at my links and click right to it and buy that. It's pretty cheap. And I have a bigger section. I cover that an awful lot more than I just did today. So let me see how much time I have. No, I'm out of time. I don't want to drag this out for you guys. Keep those questions coming. I don't answer them all. I can't. I don't have enough time to answer every single email, but I compile the emails, and then as I get several on one topic, I'll put those in one of the podcast videos or wherever I'm doing that, and get that back out to you. Follow me on YouTube. Pretty much every day of the week, I do 2 to 3 videos, 60-second videos, and I try to give some marital advice, parenting advice, family advice on that. It's pretty neat. Again, you can follow them on YouTube and find that out. And I hope this helps. I know we're not perfect, but I do try to help. And my only reason for doing this is to help families.